Good evening, good morning, good night, wherever the hell you are in the world. I'd like to welcome you to season one, episode one of Uncle Ricky's House. Now, I know y'all motherfuckers is like, the hell is this motherfucker talking about? Uncle Ricky's House. It's a little show, a little project, a little something I'm gonna try to do just to spread some knowledge. Not that I'm the wisest motherfucker in the world, but if you split plain truth, it will get out and get to the right people and start to grow results. Because a lie does the same thing. It's just that people pay attention, or they actually initiate lies because they lie to benefit themselves. The truth may benefit you, like they said, the truth will set you free. But if you're not pressed about nothing, you really don't give a fuck about putting out the truth. As long as you think people happy with you, and what does the truth matter? You know, let's not rock the boat. We don't care. But things get rough. Instead of telling the truth, everybody want to lie. Everybody want to lie their way into freedom, into realization. It doesn't work. Now, tonight, the first topic we're going to cover is probably a word that has popped up and been ingrained in your vocabulary over the last 5 or 6 years. And uh, it's called gaslighting. Now, Trump did not coin the phrase gaslighting. The Republican Party did not coin the phrase gaslighting. The Democrats did not coin the phrase gaslighting. Gaslighting is a colloquialism that basically stands for a term that basically means brainwashing. It's where people manipulate a little bit of the truth or selected parts of the truth, and they mix it with uh, conspiracy theories. They mix it with uh, lies. And they mix it all up and they roll it up and turn out something that's supposed to be something, but it's really nothing because it's based on a lie. Prime example is CRT. Last last year during the last election cycle, CRT probably was the most worn out fucking word in the nation. It's an acronym, bunch of letters. What does it stand for? Critical race theory. Well, what does critical race theory mean? I don't know, but I hate it. I don't know how many times I've seen people on TV. I'm a Republican. I can't abide critical race theory. It's just not Republican. It's not good for the country. Oh well, can you explain critical race theory to me? I really can't. I don't. I just know I don't like it. It's not. It's a danger. It's gonna be the downfall of the country. Okay. What was the purpose of making everybody afraid of CRT? Because it's a real thing. That part is not a lie. Nobody made up CRT. CRT is a real thing. But it is taught in postgraduate school, specifically law school. That's a small percentage of the population that's going to get CRT. This is not something they want to make you believe that it's something that everybody that's going through school will be forced to be taught CRT. So we have to carefully monitor all of our social programs, all of our history, all of our government programs, all of our social studies, civics, to make sure that there is no CRT taught in our public schools. But why is CRT bad? Because the purpose of CRT is to make white people feel bad about being white and owning slaves and civil war and blah 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 blah. And and it makes black people feel less than because their ancestors were slaves, and it makes them have bad feelings about their potential, blah 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 blah. CRT, what it really is, it's a theory, critical race theory. It could be right, it could be wrong, but it seems to be right. It seems to have enough legs to carry itself at the right level. It is a study of how laws made in states and at the federal level that are proposed by state and federal legislators that don't truly represent the racial makeup of the country. And basically, what it's saying is old white men and women make up 90% of all the lawmaking bodies in the country. Therefore, they have the overwhelming power to approve or reject any legislation. And then if you put personal thought and personal feelings into your legislation, minorities get cut out because they don't have full representation. Things that are important to minorities, certain minorities, are not important to white people. Certain, especially white people of a certain age group, from a certain locality, from a certain mental condition, that have been mentally tuned all their life to certain standards, certain social considerations, that this is the way this should be, that is the way that it should be. This whole thing is yours. If you white, you got the potential to do anything you want as long as you got the money. If you black, red, brown, yellow, get the fuck out. You don't get a shot. Well, all right, maybe if you got some money, we'll let you come in and pretend so we can get your money. But we really don't want you here. Now, if you to gaslight you, like I said, you take a little bit of the truth and you mix it up with a straight lie, a dumbass conspiracy theory, and you wrap it all up in a nice package and you make it look good. One of the things that sells gaslighting is fear. Certain things that you say certain ways consistently over and over all day long, people start to get brainwashed. That's a brainwashing technique. You hear the same thing. You hear it on OAN, One American Network. You hear it on Newsmax, One American Network. You hear it on Newsmax, Critical Race Theory. You hear it on Fox, Critical Race Theory. You hear it on every little ragtag Confederate flag waving son of a bitch with a transmitter. You hear it all day long. If you halfway leaning into that, I guess, mental fix, you get sucked in a heartbeat. Even if you don't believe it, even if you know it's not true, but you hear it all day long, eventually it will start to find a hole in your mental faculties. Just like a fucking cavity, it starts out as a little dot, and you keep feeding it sugar, and you keep failing to clean it out like it should be cleaned out. You keep failing to cover that hole so you can't get affected by it no more. Next thing you know, you got a big ass hole in your tooth and you're trying to find a dentist. Gaslighting works the same way. You feed it to them until they puke. You feed it to them till the shit that you putting in them starts to come back at you. Their reaction is to spit out exactly what you put in your brain. This is gaslighting. This is how cults are formed. This is how people at the top accomplish crazy, crazy feats of cruelty, crazy feats of oppression, but they don't get the comeback, they don't get the punishment that they deserve because they got people's brains conditioned to the point that they think they're doing the right thing. How many people from the 1/6 riots, after they tried to come up with a defense, when they tried to come up with a reason for them going and doing the dumb shit that they did, the only thing they could come up with was, well, Trump told me to. He was the fucking president. He told me to. That is an indictment of Trump, but it is also shows or proves that you have a weak fucking mind. You have no ability to think for yourself. Who in their right mind is going to attack the Capitol of the United States over the claim of probably the worst president that we've had, definitely in this century, probably the worst president we had since, I don't know, Herbert Hoover, Wilson, whatever, one of them two, something like that. And you go do his bidding because he has poisoned your mind by telling you the same dumb, fake-ass bullshit day in and day out, day in and day out. He lost the election. So, it's the election was stolen from me. It was stolen. It was stolen. They just ripped Donald J. Why is Donald J. Trump always the victim? They just fucking awful. After all I was the best at after all I did for you people, you let them steal the election from me. I was the best president you ever had, and you let them steal the election from me. When every other sane person, whether Republican, Democrat, Independent, is trying to tell you the election was not stolen. Just think about it logically. How hard would it be to steal a national election? This is not a small town of 700 people. We talking the nation. We talking the winner of the election beat the loser by 7 million votes, and the loser got more votes than he had when he won his first term in office, and he lost. More people voted. More people turned out for this election than anything in the 21st century. I don't know about the 20th century, but I'm assuming it's probably the greatest turnout ever, because there's more people, there's more registered voters, blah, 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 blah. But just because you registered don't mean that you actually go and vote. And this is part of what helped Trump sell the big lie, because the red hat wearing people have always known that the more people that turn out in any election, the greater the chances of a non-Republican winning. When we don't show up, they win, hands down, no doubt. Why? Because they have no platform. The Republicans haven't had a platform in about 20 years. They have no plan. They have one playbook. Get power, hold power, reduce taxes for people like us, corporations, so that we still keep getting our bribes through campaign contributions to my political action fund. And that money, as long as I'm not a declared candidate, I can basically spend that any way I feel like, and you know, oh shit, that's amazing. That's just that's absolutely the way we do shit is the way our electoral system is designed. It can't help but generate the downfall of democracy because it's too susceptible to infestation by greed and just narcissistic thinking, power hungry, mad motherfuckers. It's too easy for them to take root. It's too easy for them to plant shit in people's minds and use the ignorant public to achieve their fucked up goals. Case in point. If you go back and look at the Vietnam War, this proves two things that I've said. Gaslighting is not just a Republican thing. Republicans and the Democrats do it. It's just that you got to give the Republicans credit. They are the masters at it. And they probably use it to do more power-hungry damage than the Democrats do. The Democrats use it to manipulate social conditions so that, you know, to get their bills passed. You know, to keep they I'm not saying they use it for good. It's just that they don't blatantly use it for goals that are on the surface. When you look at it, oh, that's fucked up, that's not good, that's bad. That's the Republicans do that. Trump made it a popular thing. Look, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna fuck y'all. I'm gonna do shit, you're not gonna like it, but because I'm president, because I'm Donald J. Trump, you're gonna have to come at me for everything, because I'm gonna put it out there. So sooner or later, you're gonna get tired of me putting it out there, and you're gonna stop making yourself looking stupid coming at me and losing every time. Dude got impeached twice. No president, no United States president had ever been impeached twice. He got impeached twice by the House. He never resigned. He went to trial in the Senate, and he never got convicted in the Senate. Why? Because of a Republican Senate that was in lockstep. They knew Trump was guilty of everything he was charged with. But if they fried Trump, then that meant that they were laid open to the same thing. If they fried Trump, then that meant that they would have to be looking over their shoulders for however long, because Trump is a vindictive person. Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger, they voted to convict Trump. The only Republican congresspeople to vote to convict Trump. No, I think who was it? Murkowski. Murkowski was with him too. They voted to convict Trump. Trump has had a vendetta to drive them out of the Republican Party ever since. Cheney, Kinzinger was so upset with Trump, what he was trying to do with the country. Those two, they voted on Republican parties in accordance with, in lockstep with Trump, like 98% of the time. So for them to come out and say Trump is fucked up, he was trying to remain in power and basically overthrow the government. We have to prove it, and we have to create legislation so that it will never happen again. That is the purpose of the January 6th Commission, in case you didn't know. So, McCarthy tried to make a sham out of it. Pelosi roadblocked him. Then these two stepped out of the woodwork so that nobody could claim it wasn't a bipartisan commission. Now, the Republicans were given a chance to put 6 people on the commission of their choice. So what do? They make a clown show out of it. They try to put 6 of the worst assholes, 6 of the loudest Trump dogs they got on the commission, which would have turned the whole commission into a clown show and probably made it useless, and it would probably end up dissolving itself without doing anything by summer. Now they got a ton of evidence. They sitting there trying to decide whether to make a criminal referral to the Department of Justice to prosecute Trump. That's another story, though. We'll get to that later. But see, the whole thing is a result of gaslighting. The gaslighting didn't fail. If the gaslighting had failed, Trump would have never been in trouble, because the riot in D.C. would have never happened. But because he planted the seed, he nurtured the seed, he found fertile ground, because I swear to God, half these people's minds are nothing but a decayed lump of whatever sitting in the top of their head. Fertile. It's rotten. It's rotten. Ain't nothing really going on up there. You got to put some life into it. So here's Trump. Okay, listen to this. Let me put this in your ear hole. Now, go away and think about that. Think about who I am. Think about what I stand for. So who do you want to believe? Do you want to believe the truth, or do you want to believe me? You know, if I go back, I'm going to voice all the shit that you can't say. I'm going to make it okay for you to say all the dumb shit you want to say about everybody else. And just like nobody can touch me, they not going to be able to touch you, because we the same people. They not like us. That's gaslighting. That's racism 101. That's fascism. That's advanced fascism. Now, the January 6th riot, I think we've established a good case that it was caused by Trump gaslighting his followers. Hell, he tried to gaslight the nation through the COVID pandemic. That's basically why he didn't get reelected. As far as popularity, by the time the election rolled around, because of the COVID and because of the Trump administration obviously failing in its responsibilities, and people starting to realize that, yo, these motherfuckers is dying because we ain't doing shit. Trump trying not to piss off his base, so he letting them run around doing whatever the hell they wanted to do, and sniping at leaders that were trying to work with the scientists and, you know, impose some restrictions that would cut the flow of this disease that ended up killing like 500,000 people on Trump's watch. He was directly responsible for that. He has to take at least partial accountability for those lives that were lost while he fucked around to protect his image in hopes of winning the election, so he can retain power and continue to fuck the United States on a daily basis. The biggest weapon in the gaslighting arsenal is fear. You say stuff to pick at somebody's fears, and that's how you hook them. Because I know you have this fear. I'm gonna light that fear up, and then I'm gonna present myself as the only person that can protects you, the only person that can make your individual boogeyman go away. When Trump ran in the beginning in 2016, he says, you got to elect me because I'm the only one that can fix it. He never said what he was going to fix. He just told everybody, I'm the only one that can fix it. Then there was a lot of little side plants when they talk about the people coming over from Mexico, the shithole countries, they said S-hole countries, that type thing. Like, it wasn't like 100% blatant racism, because after all, he is the president of the United States. But it was, let's just say, the veneer of civility was gone. It didn't exist anymore. The only rule he stuck to was that he never said the N-word in public. But if you put him back in the White House again, his ego, after the ass kicking he took at the polls, for him to come back and to go in the White House, and his followers still got control over the Republican Party, you know his head gonna get bigger than, well, it's probably, his head is probably the biggest part of his body anyway, but it's only gonna swell up larger. And before you know it, he's just gonna go out there one day and say it. And it'll shock the world, it'll shock the country, but guess what? Ain't shit gonna happen to him. It's gonna be accepted because he has gaslit the world into acceptance of his bullshit. If you look at what's going on in Ukraine, and you look at Putin, and you look at Donald Trump, they not just friends. Them motherfuckers, well, I ain't gonna say they two peas in a pod, but as far as their thoughts about them in relationship to everybody else, they think just alike. I'm up here, you down there. I tell you what to do. I make you what to do. I make you do what I want you to do, and if you don't do that, I make you disappear. I ruin your life. I strip away everything you have. Trump and Putin are just alike in that respect. The only difference is Putin actually got a set of balls. He's crazy as fuck, but he got a big ass set of balls. And he don't give a shit. I'm the president, that's the army. I point them, they kill you. I point them, they annihilate you. I point them, you are no more. That's because I'm the president, that's my army. They do what I tell them to do. Trump, because of the way the laws are written in the United States, does not have that kind of direct control over the military. But he's going to change that shit. If he gets back in, he's going to change it. He's already proven that he got the Supreme Court stacked on his side when it really matters. They've been kind of camouflaging themselves lately because Trump is not president. Trump cannot protect them. It's not a mutual admiration society right now. Trump gets back into power, it's a mutual admiration society. They can say fucked up shit and still get supported by the White House. Trump can do fucked up shit, get sued, court cases taken to the Supreme Court, and Trump will survive because the justices in the Supreme Court are stacked in his favor. Biggest example of gaslighting, like I said, Russians call the Ukrainians Nazis. Ukrainians are not Nazis. They fought the Nazis during World War II. They hate the Nazis. Ukrainian is religiously mixed up, but Nazis persecuted Ukrainian Jews. They built one of the biggest death camps there was during World War II right there in Ukraine. They brought in Jews from all over Eastern Europe and put them in that camp. Those Jews performed slave labor until they couldn't, until they almost worked themselves to death. If they died, they were dragged off and thrown in a pit. If not, they were shoved into the ovens, burned, gas, burned, cremated. Ukrainians are not Nazis. But Putin, because he constantly refers to them as Nazi. Ukrainian needs denazification. Someone finally asked someone in the government, why you call them Nazis? We don't call them Nazis because they're Germans. The response is, we don't call them Nazis because they like the World War II Germans. We call them Nazis because they not us. They're not us. They don't deserve to be in our part of the universe. They are not us. Take this shit across the Atlantic. Certain people believe that there's no place for people in this country to have position, influence, power, money even, because they're not them. They're not us, the Nazis here, are people that look like me. Why? Because that's what they want the rest of the world to identify me as, because I look a certain way on the outside. They want to brainwash the rest of the world to make them believe I'm a violent, agitated, unstable motherfucker that is unpatriotic, and all I want to do is either leech off of the country or tear it down. That's the only opinion that they have of people like me. That's the only opinion that they want the rest of the world to have of people like me. Gaslighting, gaslighting, gaslighting. I'm going to say goodbye, good night. I hope you enjoyed the season 1, episode 1, the explanation of gaslighting. So until the next time when I invite you back to Uncle Ricky's house to sit down and chat about something else that's on the country's mind, have a good night, good day, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Stay blessed and be safe until we meet again.